Hey everybody, it's Steve with Sky194, and I appreciate you taking the time to visit my channel and check out my video. And we are here at Laguna Seca with the AMG EVO. I had a request for a setup here, and so I haven't been here in a long time, so it's something I need to really kind of brush up on some of my practice because I just haven't driven here in a while. So I started working on the EVO as far as getting a setup, and it's a really solid setup, and I think it's really good as far as a race setup. So I'm going to go over, of course, make my do a few laps like we always do, and show the setup, and then I'll put a link for the setup in the description. So let's go ahead and start here. Go over some key points here. Okay, I'm usually braking right at the beginning of this curve in here, in this first part of this curve somewhere. Like I said, it could be a little bit deeper than this, but usually it's right coming up to this concrete here. Go all the way down to first, and what I try to do, because it's a two-fold thing, it's kind of like a it's not, I don't know, really not a double apex, but because I mean basically I try to hug this on the tight side, because what you're trying to do is, I'm also being defensive also. I mean, I'm not sure, again, this is just my opinion as far as the fastest lap or being the right the right part of the track, but to me it serves two purposes. So I try to hug here, and that's also to be being defensive, so nobody can dive and just stuff it on the inside of you. And then I just kind of drift it out a little bit, and then use the throttle to help turn the car, and then come back in strong coming off the turn. So you see a little bit out, and then come back in. I'm a little bit wide there, but not real bad. And then here, as you see, I usually try to aim for this number 2 for this next corner. I usually just try to aim there, and then what I do is I come there and then straighten the car out to go to the, and I brake at right before the number 1. But I don't want to go to that and have the car at an angle, is what I'm saying, because you can see how the road turns. It has like a bend to it to the right, and I don't want to be coming up to it and have the car aiming the wrong way, and then you're trying to make a hard turn, because you're just going to totally mess your turn up. So I try to come up to the 2 and then kind of turn in gradual to go with the track. So again, I usually right before the number 1, I'm on the brakes. And again, these sausages are just killers here. You can hit them with this setup. It will definitely mess you up, but I hit a few, which I'll talk about later. And you lose a bunch of time, but it's not an automatic wreck like it was with the aggressive setup. So, but it will mess you up. So you definitely want to miss them. Take it wide, so you're coming across like that. Again, kind of a late apex. Run it out to the right to the edge. And this is a tricky one here, because you're on the brakes right basically at the 1, and I'm basically over here on the curb. Now, if you want, you can move over and stay on just right on the white line, but I'm actually right on this curbing, and you can see the curbing is actually going to run out here real quick. So basically, I run it right out here and right at the end to get the latest apex I can, so I can, because I'm on the gas. You watch the throttle over here. I'll go slow motion here. See, I'm already on. I'm off, and now I'm right back on it, throttling it, and I'm half to full throttle. So I'm half to full throttle almost really quick. So. And I try to do that to get back on it as soon as I can. I want to be about halfway through the turn. I want to be back on it. And then here to number 2, basically right up at the 2, or a little bit after, but basically right up at the 2, I'm on the brakes again. And of course I'm in 4th. I downshift to 2nd. And again, I try to hold it out here and then bring it in and cut it close here also. So to where I'm basically right there. Then you can run it out wide. I run it wide as I can, right out on the curbing again. Now this is, to me, this turn here is the hardest turn to me in Laguna Seca. This is without a doubt the trickiest turn, and I have seen more guys, and I'm talking guys that, you know, that have a lot of experience, mess up here many times. I've done it many, many times, and it really takes practice to get it consistent. So again, it's really good to practice. But basically, I'm on the brakes before the number one. So wait before the number one. You don't want to wait till you're up to it. And this is what it looks like in the car. So I'm already on the brake. So before I get there, I want to show you. So I'm already on the brake. I'm on the brakes. So before the number one, you want to be on the brakes. And then you're going to look for this sausage here on the left and try to cut it as close as you can, but not hitting it. I mean, I hit it really bad one time, and I basically went off the track and off into here and messed up, and didn't hit the wall or nothing, just went off into the dirt. But yeah, I messed up one time, and that was pretty much a throwaway lap there. But as you can see, come through here and come right through there. I mean, again, I could be a little closer, but it's still, at least you're right. Anywhere in here is good, because you're going to run out here really fast, and you don't want to run off into the dirt out here. I used all the road because, again, you're trying to use momentum. So you on the brakes, off. See, I'm already off the brakes, and I'm not going to be on them again. So basically, you're wanting to get back on the throttle and drive right up through here. So it's going to run wide. So you want to make sure you cut it as close as you can so you can get the drive up this hill. And then, just go straight where it leads you over to the left side. So you want to be kind of over here on the left side to get the angle, so when you're coming up here over the corkscrew, you're straight. And then basically at the 2, I'm on the brakes, and I'm pretty much going straight right through here, just straight. That way, you be full brakes, and if the car's a little nervous, it's not, you might have to pump it, because when you come over this ridge, sometimes the car gets a little light. So if it does, sometimes you might have to on the brakes really hard, and then off, and then right back on again. So you see my lights blink? That's probably what it was. So you're going to come in here, and you're going to go in real tight. This is, really not that bad. I mean, if you come in here nice and tight, going through the corkscrew, it's really not that bad. So you're nice and tight, and you're going to, as you can see, the pumpkin right here. See where my arrow is? There's a pumpkin head right here on this tree, and that's what they aim for. That's in real life, and that's also simulated here in ACC. But a lot of times that's what they aim for. So you can use that if you need to aim for something. But basically, when you take a left, you just get on the gas. See, I'm already on the gas. I'm already going just almost full throttle. And you want to upshift to second right away. So you're going to upshift second. I actually waited a little too long. We should upshift right away because you're going down the hill. Now, coming through down here, you're going to just touch the brake. See where right there? You're not, see, it's only about 50%. You're just going to touch the brake just to settle the car. You don't want to smash it because the car will jump. And you're going to bring it down to where you're real close to here. You can run it out. I hit the dirt a little bit. And then on the brakes before the 1, back down to second. You can do third. I mean, you can go either way, but I like second because you can really power through this next this next turn. Downshift to second, and then on the gas up to third, and then you're on the brakes coming up right up to the 2. You can go right up to the 2, and then basically just do a late type of apex, and you're good to go. And then you're right there. And that's a pretty close. I mean, you could be a little closer, but still, that's not bad. Let's see, it's 19. Okay, so we're going to go to 19 next. And this is near the end of the race anyway, so, or race, near the end of the stint. So tired I am. Doing a lot of setups. See, that last lap was 123.79. I think the one I showed was a 123.60 something. Closer, and you gotta be so careful because if you hit it, you're gonna definitely know it. Show this one, which is, it's not the last lap, but it's not far from it. That last lap was my fast lap at a 123.50. Now in practice, I did run some 20s, 123.20 something, 23 I think it was. So I ran a little faster in practice, but you know, so it's there. But I'm really happy with this because it's, you know, decent and it's right near the end of the 30-minute stint. So the, you know, the car still felt really good, really neutral, which you really want going through here. Going through here, see how that you want it neutral, because if the car is a little oversteery, you're going to lose it going through there, guaranteed. So if you get the car really rotating good and you get, you know, near, let's say it changes halfway, 3/4 of the way through the stint, and you're going through there, you're going to be in trouble because the car will come around on you so easy going through there. There's one of the new liveries, which I love. Really nice looking car, nice looking AMG. And that was a 123.58. So again, not much difference from my fast lap. So let's go and check out the timetables. And let's look at that. And you see I had a few outs. When I hit that big sausage, that's what that's from. Hitting that sausage and went off into the dirt. I didn't wreck, but it, you know, totally destroyed everything, my lap. And of course there was another one that was bad. But, and you see in my fast lap, I didn't even have a fast sector. So if you would have put all three of these together down here, it would have been like a 23.30 or 20 something. So again, and you see down here, my last lap was a 123.71. So again, that's still only 0.2 away from my fast lap. So again, I'm really happy with that. Again, it's, you know, really it shows more me being too inconsistent. Not the car, because even though I messed up in a couple of places, it's still, you know, the car near the end, the last 4 or 5 laps, it was really doing really good still. So again, it's just you know, more practice at Laguna Seca. It shows I haven't driven there in a while, but it's a really solid setup. So let's go over the setup. Got 26.2 left front and left rear, 25.4 right front, and 25.6 right rear. The toe is a negative 0.05 on the front, with the camber at negative 3.6 on the left front and negative 3.5 on the right front. The caster is at 12.1. Now, the reason I do that is because the spread here between inner and outer is less by a good amount than it was over here on the right side. And I want them as close as I can. So, I mean, let's just say example. This is at basically 6 or 7 degrees spread from inner to outer. Let's just say that. And this one here is 4 or 5. Well, I'd rather to get a better balance and better wear, and that's what I'm looking for, is better wear, or equal wear, or even wear, however you want to call it. I would rather have the inner and outer as equal as I can get them. I'm not talking about the temperatures themselves. I'm talking basically from inner to outer, what is the temperature difference between the inner to outer on each tire. So basically what I'm trying to do, and this is something I've just been doing within the last few weeks, is I do something like this when I notice a bigger difference. If it's really close, I don't bother. I leave them the same. But if there's a bigger difference from one side to the other, even back here, rear or front or rear, I will do that so I can get a little bit. I can either widen the spread or shrink it up if it's too much. So those are the things that I do, trying to keep the wear even and get better performance for all of us. I mean, better for me when I use it, and better for anybody out there that you guys want to try it. So again, I really try to do. I'm always trying to improve and always trying to make my setups better and better. So let's go to the rear. The toe on the back is 0.08 with the camber at -3. Electronics are 4, 5, and 1. Fuel, it had 80 liters. These are the tires that I ran, and this has light graining on the front, and that's it. So I'm really happy with that. I'll take light graining, and I was still running really good laps at the end. So, and that could have been some from me from hitting sausages and going off and things. So I'm not really positive if I would have better wear or not if I wouldn't have done that, but it wouldn't have been worse. So, and what I look at too is the front to rear. If you look at this, this is not that big a difference. Pretty close, super close over here. So I like that. The wear front to back is very close, and so that's good. Mechanical, got 5 in the anti-roll bar. Brake bias is 56. Steering ratio is 12. The springs on the front are 155,000 with a bump stop rate of 900, a bump stop range of 6. On the rear, the springs are 119,000 with a bump stop rate of 600 and a bump stop range of 30. If the back end is a little too nervous for you, what I would do is probably one click down on these rear springs, and that would probably calm the rear end down just a little bit. It's not that bad, but if it's something that you think it's a little bit too nervous, that's what I would do. I would not mess with other stuff. I would try that first before I did other things. And then on the rear, the anti-roll bar is 3, and the preload on the diff is 40, and that all worked really well. Oh, and on the brake bias, near the end, I was going down a little at a time to help with the rotating, and it was working fine. So you could go down to 55, not an issue at all, and maybe go down even lower than that. But I know you can go down to 55 brake bias with not a problem, which again, I try to do with all my setups if I can, to make it more tunable and get the best wear out of the rear tires and fronts, really. Shocks, I have 5, 3, 7, and 6 on the front, and 5, 3, 6, 5 on the rear. Aero, I have 51 on the front, 76 on the rear with a 7 splitter and an 8 rear wing and a 4 and a 3 in the brake ducts. And the front aero variation is a -0.4. Now, as far as this goes, the ride height, I definitely raised it up some because you will bottom out everywhere here at Laguna Seca, which can upset the car. I mean, if you bottom out too hard, it unloads the car and you'll spin off, which I've seen it happen going down the corkscrew. And then those sausages, if you nick the sausages, or not even run them real hard, but if you just hit them decent, it'll wreck you. So again, I raised this up to 1 because top speed this is one of the slower tracks as far as speed wise, and second of all, you need clearance. So that's so if you do hit something like that, it's, it might mess you up, but it's not going to end the race. Again, that's why, these are specific race setups. When I did the aggressive was way lower, and running the aggressive, I could only run like a 25 flat. That's the best that I could really do. Even that was like a miracle to do that. So basically, and that's just, it just didn't get along with me. It just didn't work. This is a complete 180 degrees difference than what the aggressive setup is. But this is what works. Times work, and it's decently consistent, a lot more than what it was with the aggressive. And it's just for me. I mean, I'm not saying this is the only setup that can be. I'm just saying is that it's just another option in case you don't get along with the aggressive setup. That's all. So I hope it works for you, and I hope you always watch my videos as much as you can, as far as all of it. It helps with all the YouTube stuff and the like and share and all that, because it makes a huge difference. Because I don't get a ton of views and subscribers and stuff like that, like these big channels. So all that is really big, and I really appreciate it, and just want to say thank you to everybody and all my subscribers and all that. And we were just doing so, we're always growing, and I just appreciate that. And any comments or feedback is appreciated. And I love talking to all my friends, and I sure hope that you enjoy it. And I hope you come back and visit again real soon. Y'all take care. See ya.